At 77, Elaine never imagined a simple stroll through her garden could become so exhausting. She would pause every few steps, pressing one hand to her chest as if to steady a pounding drum inside. When she visited her granddaughter a few months earlier, they had taken long walks by the lake, chatting about everything under the sun. But now each breath felt like a desperate gasp. Elaine knew something was wrong, yet she told herself it was just normal aging. Then one afternoon, she felt a sudden tightness in her chest. It was brief and passed quickly, but in that moment, a cold wave of fear washed over her. She realized that if she didn't figure out what was happening to her heart, she might lose the chance to enjoy those peaceful walks. Or even worse, lose the chance to see her granddaughter grow up. Sadly, Elaine's story is far more common than most seniors realize. Many people over 75 believe they're doing all the right things for their heart. Maybe they take their pills on time, watch their salt intake a bit, and try to avoid stress. But somehow, the symptoms creep up. The shortness of breath, the strange little aches that come and go in the chest. The unexpected, overwhelming fatigue that makes even daily activities feel like monumental tasks. And the most troubling part is that for many, these signs are waved away as inevitable, something that just happens with age. Yet heart issues remain the leading health concern for seniors, and ignoring them can lead to life-threatening consequences. One hospital visit can turn into a series of stressful medical appointments, and the independence you cherish may slip through your fingers more quickly than you ever thought possible. The frightening truth is that there are hidden mistakes many people make after 75 that place an even greater strain on their heart. Some are so common they feel almost harmless, like skipping a checkup or believing you can rely solely on medication to manage your condition. Others lurk in plain sight, disguised as everyday habits that quietly chip away at your cardiovascular health. But here's the good news. If you address these pitfalls now, you stand a far better chance of preserving your vitality, staying active, and enjoying your family and friends for years to come. What you're about to learn isn't complicated. In fact, most of it is grounded in straightforward principles that doctors and specialists have been exploring for decades, principles that are only recently gaining broader recognition. Over the next few minutes, we'll dive into 5 of the most critical heart health mistakes made by seniors after 75 and reveal how to avoid them. By understanding these issues and taking simple, proactive steps, you can safeguard yourself against some of the most common causes of heart trouble in later life. Stay with me until the final piece of advice, because that last point may be the one thing almost nobody talks about, and it might just be the difference between a future filled with doctor visits and a future filled with the freedom to pursue your passions. Doctors and geriatric specialists are finally recognizing that heart health is about more than just a prescription. It's about a holistic approach that combines proper medication use, mindful habits, emotional well-being, and consistent engagement with healthcare professionals. Having guided countless seniors through these principles, I've seen transformations that border on miraculous. A return of energy, reduced hospital visits, and a renewed zest for living. Now, I want to share these insights with you. Before we begin, if this is your first time watching or reading content like this, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on Senior Health Insights. If you find the information useful, give a quick comment or a thumbs up. Your feedback helps me tailor future discussions to topics you care about most. Now let's look at the heart health mistakes you might be making right this moment and how to steer clear of them for good. The first overlooked mistake is one that often hides behind the well-intentioned advice seniors commonly receive: relying too heavily on medication alone. Too many people assume that once they have their pills sorted, the rest of their lifestyle can remain unchanged. But the reality is more complex and at times far more empowering. Let's explore why. Mistake number 1, over-reliance on medication. It's a widespread belief that if you take the prescribed pills every day, you've effectively done your part. The bold statement here is that medication alone isn't enough to secure good heart health, especially once you pass 75. Sure, medication can help manage blood pressure, cholesterol, and other heart-related concerns, but it can't replace proactive, daily habits that support your cardiovascular system from every angle. In fact, focusing solely on medication might distract you from simple but powerful lifestyle changes. A common misconception among seniors is that they can skip the exercise routine or the healthier diet if they just pop the right pills. This way of thinking can be tempting, especially when energy levels feel low or when physical activities seem daunting. Yet consider Harold, 80 years old, who found himself stuck in a cycle of hospital visits because his blood pressure was never fully under control, despite being on 3 different medications. He believed medication would do all the work for him, but his doctors were baffled when the numbers just wouldn't stabilize. It wasn't until an observant nurse asked about his daily routine that they discovered Harold spent most of his day in his recliner, snacking on processed foods and rarely moving around his home. Here's the counterintuitive truth. Sometimes your medication can only do so much if your body isn't receiving adequate support from healthy habits. While meds are an important tool, combining them with moderate physical activity, balanced nutrition, and stress reduction techniques can multiply their effectiveness. Medications might lower your blood pressure by a certain amount, but going for a gentle 20-minute walk each day could give you even greater benefits by improving circulation and strengthening your heart muscle. So how do you take action? First, schedule a conversation with your healthcare provider or whoever manages your prescriptions and review all your medications. Ask them if there are any lifestyle changes you can pair with the meds to enhance results. Second, introduce small physical activities into your day, like a short walk or light stretching routine. If you have mobility issues, consider chair exercises. Third, pay attention to your stress levels. Activities such as deep breathing, journaling, or even listening to soothing music can help keep stress-related heart strain in check. The emotional benefit of balancing medication with lifestyle habits is huge. You might find yourself feeling more in control, less anxious about your health, and better able to handle daily tasks. When Harold began taking daily walks, initially just around his house for 5 minutes, his blood pressure started to show improvements within a few weeks. He still needed his medications, but his overall well-being changed dramatically once he realized he had a role to play beyond just swallowing a pill. The next mistake is one that might surprise you because it goes against the caution many older adults receive: avoiding physical activity altogether for fear of straining the heart. Mistake number 2, believing exercise is dangerous. After 75. A surprising number of seniors think that at a certain age, exercise is more risk than reward. There's a line of conventional wisdom that says, take it easy. Don't overdo it. You're not as young as you used to be. While there is some truth in pacing yourself, the bold statement here is that regular, gentle exercise is actually essential for strengthening your heart. Yes, even after 75, especially after 75. People often fear that their heart can't handle physical exertion, but in many cases, the actual danger is leading a completely sedentary life. Think of it like a car that hasn't been driven for years. Parts start to rust and seize up. Your heart is a muscle. It needs stimulation to stay strong. Consider Mildred, 79, who was told by her friends that brisk walking might be too intense. She took that to heart and stopped her morning walks for almost 6 months. She felt her energy draining faster than ever. Simple tasks like climbing a short flight of stairs or even doing laundry became draining ordeals. Her doctor encouraged her to start slow, a 5-minute walk that gradually progressed to 10, then 15 minutes. In just 2 months, Mildred's energy soared. Her heart rate steadied, and she started noticing fewer random aches and pains. The misconception is that any strain on the heart is bad. The reality is that moderate, appropriately scaled activity strengthens the heart and improves circulation. The surprising insight is that deliberate, low-impact exercise, like gentle walking, stretching, or water aerobics, can be safer than being completely inactive. When you never challenge your heart, it becomes weaker over time, leaving you more vulnerable to all sorts of cardiovascular issues. If you're unsure how to begin, try this simple approach. Pick an activity you enjoy, like gardening, slow dancing, or easy yoga, and set a timer for 5 minutes. Once that feels comfortable, extend it to 7 minutes, then 10, and so on. Pay attention to how you feel. If you experience shortness of breath or dizziness, pause and consult a healthcare professional before proceeding. The key is gradual progression. The emotional benefit is that daily or weekly movement can help you feel alive again. You'll likely notice improvements in your mood, better sleep patterns, and a sense of achievement as you see your endurance grow. Beyond the physical rewards, you'll feel more confident in your ability to enjoy life's pleasures, whether that's walking along the beach or playing with your grandkids. If you're still with me, I'd love to know your thoughts. Please leave a comment with the number 2 if these insights about exercise are resonating with you so far. And if you haven't yet, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated on new tips. Your feedback helps keep this conversation going and supports others who need guidance. Now let's move on to the next heart health mistake, which might be even more widespread: ignoring the deep connection between emotional stress and cardiovascular health. Mistake number 3, underestimating the impact of stress and emotional well-being. It might come as a surprise that stress, worry, or feelings of isolation can do as much damage to your heart as a poor diet or lack of exercise. Here's the bold statement: emotional turmoil doesn't just hurt your mind, it can have tangible, harmful effects on your heart. Seniors often overlook this because they're taught to focus on physical factors like cholesterol or blood pressure, unaware that the body responds powerfully to stress hormones. The common misconception is that if you're retired and not juggling a busy job, you shouldn't be stressed. But life at 75 or 80 can introduce an entirely new set of emotional pressures: the loss of loved ones, health scares, financial concerns, or even the burden of loneliness. Take Patricia, 82, who lived alone in the home she once shared with her husband. After he passed, she found it difficult to open up to family members about her loneliness, telling herself she didn't want to be a bother. Over time, she became withdrawn, sleeping poorly, and barely eating. Eventually, she ended up in the ER with palpitations and an irregular heartbeat. The doctors found no major physical cause. Instead, they discovered that deep emotional stress was wreaking havoc on her entire body. The counterintuitive truth is that practicing strategies for emotional wellness can have a positive, measurable influence on heart health. Techniques like journaling, prayer or meditation, regular phone calls or visits with friends, and even something as simple as owning a pet can significantly reduce stress hormones that strain the heart. The heart and mind are deeply connected, and neglecting one can compromise the other. If you're wondering what you can do, start by identifying a source of emotional support. This might be a local senior group, an online community, or family members you trust. You can also explore relaxation techniques such as mindful breathing. Take a slow inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and exhale for 6 counts. Repeat this for a few minutes each day. Another simple practice is writing down 3 things you're grateful for in a journal each morning. This can shift your mindset from anxiety to a more positive outlook. The emotional benefit is immense. When you nurture your emotional well-being, you often feel a lighter heart, literally and figuratively. Patricia found solace by joining a senior circle at her local community center, where she met people who'd lost spouses and understood her struggles. The palpitations subsided, and she even began to notice more stable energy levels. Her renewed sense of connection became a reason to wake up with hope rather than dread. But emotional health is only one part of the puzzle. Another common mistake is related to something we do every single day: eat. And it's not just about cutting salt anymore. Mistake number 4, underestimating the importance of diet. Everyone knows diet matters, but the bold statement here is that you might be overlooking the most critical dietary factors that keep your heart functioning optimally. The old notion that as long as you're not indulging in too many sweets or salty snacks, you're fine is far from the whole picture. There's a more nuanced truth. Seniors need a heart-focused diet that emphasizes foods with anti-inflammatory and circulation-boosting properties. One misconception is that healthy eating for seniors is merely about bland, boring salads and skipping dessert. Actually, a heart-friendly diet can be both tasty and satisfying. Take Ernest, 76, who believed he'd done everything right by avoiding sugar. Yet he was still diagnosed with alarming cholesterol levels and prediabetes. Confused, he finally consulted a nutritionist who discovered he was consuming mostly processed carbs, convenience meals, and very few fresh fruits or vegetables. A closer look at labels revealed hidden salt, unhealthy fats, and artificial ingredients that can place enormous strain on the cardiovascular system. The surprising insight is that you may need to add more, not less, to your diet, specifically more whole foods, fresh vegetables, lean proteins like fish or poultry, and heart-healthy fats such as olive oil or avocado. Even moderate amounts of certain spices like turmeric and garlic can support heart health by reducing inflammation and helping to regulate blood pressure. When Ernest swapped his processed lunch snacks for whole grain crackers with hummus and fresh veggies, and started adding fish like salmon to his weekly meal plan, his cholesterol levels began to improve over several months. It wasn't an overnight fix, but it was a consistent shift in the right direction. Wondering how to start making changes? Try focusing on color. Fill your plate with a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables, greens, reds, oranges, purples, because they often contain antioxidants that nurture your heart. Also, look for simple ways to swap out unhealthy fats. For instance, trade butter for olive oil in cooking. And don't forget hydration. Mild dehydration can increase the heart's workload. Keep a refillable water bottle nearby and sip steadily throughout the day. The emotional reward goes beyond physical health. Many seniors report feeling a sense of pride and optimism when they improve their diet, realizing they can take charge of their well-being. There's something empowering about deciding, even at 80, that you have agency over how you feel each day. And the positive ripple effect, better digestion, clearer thinking, steadier energy, makes life's daily tasks more enjoyable. If you're finding value in these discussions, please leave a comment with the number 4 to let me know you're still here and listening. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. This community is about supporting each other toward healthier, happier living, and I'd love for you to be part of it. Now let's address one final heart health mistake, one that might seem obvious but is too often neglected: postponing checkups and ignoring potential warning signs. Mistake number 5 is skipping regular checkups or dismissing warning signs. The bold statement here is that missing doctor appointments or brushing off unexplained symptoms can be as risky as any bad habit when it comes to safeguarding your heart. It's easy to tell yourself, it's just a little flutter, or I don't want to bother my doctor with small complaints. But these so-called small complaints can be early indicators of bigger issues that need attention. The major misconception is that if you're feeling mostly okay, you don't need to see a professional regularly. Albert, 84, rarely went for follow-ups because he felt fine. A couple of times he noticed slight chest flutters, but they disappeared quickly. Why make a fuss, he thought. Then one morning he experienced a more intense episode that landed him in the hospital. Doctors discovered an arrhythmia that, had it been caught earlier, might have been managed through less invasive means. Instead, he required a more serious intervention. Fortunately, Albert recovered, but it was a wake-up call. The surprising truth is that many serious heart issues develop subtly. Regular checkups and open communication with your healthcare provider can catch problems before they escalate. Even something as minor as persistent fatigue can be a clue that something isn't right. Being proactive also means forming a better relationship with your medical team. Instead of only visiting the clinic when you are in crisis, you build a history that helps them tailor recommendations to your unique situation. What's the practical step here? Mark your calendar with appointment dates, even for routine checkups. Keep a small notebook to jot down any unusual symptoms, like shortness of breath, irregular heartbeats, dizziness, or significant changes in your energy levels. When you go to your appointment, share these notes with your doctor. And if you ever feel that something is off, don't hesitate to call your healthcare provider to discuss it. Timely attention can make all the difference in preventing complications. Emotionally, this habit of staying on top of your health can bring peace of mind. Instead of lying awake at night, worrying about unexplained symptoms, you can rest easier knowing you're in good hands. That sense of security often radiates into other areas of life, allowing you to plan future trips, cherish family gatherings, or simply enjoy a quiet morning on the porch without anxious thoughts pulling you down. As we wrap up, take a moment to reflect on these 5 heart health mistakes: relying solely on medication, avoiding necessary exercise, underestimating stress, downplaying the importance of diet and skipping regular checkups. Think about where you might be slipping into these pitfalls and how you can shift your routines to protect your heart in the years to come. You've seen that heart health is not just about taking a pill or cutting back on salt. It's a more holistic, day-to-day vigilance combined with compassion for yourself. Even if you've already faced heart-related problems, it's never too late to make changes. Small, consistent steps have a remarkable power to transform your life. You've heard from Harold, who balanced his medications with daily walks, and Mildred, who discovered the right kind of exercise could be her greatest ally. You've seen Patricia's story that proves emotional well-being matters just as much as physical care, and Ernest's eye-opening experience that changed his views on diet. Lastly, Albert's ordeal highlights the importance of routine checkups and paying close attention to your body's signals. Now, imagine yourself 6 months or a year from today, having taken even half of these suggestions to heart. Picture feeling more confident in your ability to move about freely, a comfortable steadiness in your chest as you climb a small set of stairs or carry groceries into the house. Think about savoring a nutritious meal that actually tastes great and leaves you energized rather than sluggish. Envision a stronger emotional outlook, where stress and loneliness don't weigh you down. Instead, you feel connected, either to a support group, your neighbors, or family, knowing that you're not walking this path alone. The first step is often the hardest, but it can be as simple as picking up the phone to schedule that overdue checkup or heading outside to walk a single block just to get moving. Ask yourself, which of these 5 points spoke to you the most? Is it time to reassess your medications, add a bit of gentle exercise, address unspoken worries, revamp your meal plan, or call the doctor about those odd little symptoms you've been ignoring? Maybe it's all of the above, and that's okay. Even tackling one at a time can start a chain reaction of positive changes. Your next move is crucial. Share one thing you've learned today in the comments, along with how you plan to apply it. When you put your intentions into words, you're that much more likely to follow through. And by sharing your goals, you inspire others in this community to do the same. Your story might be exactly what another senior needs to hear to find the courage to start their own journey toward better heart health. If this discussion helped you see heart health in a new light, please like this video and consider subscribing. Every bit of support helps me continue creating content that informs and empowers people in their 70s, 80s, and beyond. Feel free to share this video with anyone you believe might need a gentle nudge toward prioritizing their heart. Together, we can foster a community where seniors help each other remain active, resilient, and full of hope for the days ahead. Remember, each day is a fresh opportunity to care for your heart, and by extension, to take care of your future. Don't let fear stop you. Let it motivate you to act, because you have more power than you realize. You deserve a life where your heart is as strong, free, and dependable as possible, so you can continue creating cherished memories with those you love. Now is the time to start. You have the knowledge and you have the determination. So go ahead, take the next step, and let your heart guide you toward a healthier, brighter tomorrow.